Hello and welcome to lesson 4 of this section, 9.05. So now we're going to look at calculating lowest common multiples and highest common factors using Venn diagrams. In the green box is your LO. So here is your retrieval task. Questions are starting to change slightly now. If you have a look, we've got highest common factor problem. If you can pause the screen now and have a go at these questions for 10 minutes for me. Okay, so here are your solutions, the work solutions. So if you can pause the screen for me, spend 2 to 3 minutes reading through the problem, reading through the work solutions, and correcting and marking your work. Okay, so the I do to start with, I had to use the whole slide for this because it can get quite fiddly and boxed in if you try and squeeze it. So, first we want to find the lowest common multiple of 18 and 45. Now, of course, last time we listed the multiplication tables, but now we're going to use prime factorisation. So, 18 we can break down into 9 times 2. 9 can be broken down into 3 times 3. So now we have our prime factorisation for 18. We do the same for 45. And we get our factorisation, prime factorisation for 45. So now we have to put these into a Venn diagram. So now our Venn diagrams are here. Each circle, each ring is associated with one number. The section in the overlap are going to be the factors that are shared by 18 and 45. Now I want you to copy this down and I want to see a thorough modelled answer because this can get tricky. So 18 has a factor of 2 on its own, 45 does not. So it goes in just the 18 part of the ring. And we cross it out. One of the shared factors, there is a 3 in both, so we just put 1 3 in the middle to relate to both of those shared 3's. But now we notice that there's also another 3 in both 18 and 45, so we put that in our shared factors, and we put that into the middle section. Now bear in mind that we haven't put 4 3's in the middle, we've just put 1 3 for each pair that is shared. And then we are left with a 5 and the 45. So to calculate the lowest common multiple, you need to multiply all the numbers in our Venn diagram, all the factors in the diagram. So it's 2 times 3 times 3 times 5, which gives us 90. So now, I would like you to pause the screen, use that method, and try and calculate the lowest common multiple for 75 and 90 using our prime factorisation method. Give yourselves 3 minutes for this. Okay, so 75 broken down. So into its prime factorisation we get 3 times 5 times 5. 90 is broken down into 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So now we need to put them into our Venn diagram. We get our 2 rings, 75 and 90. Our shared factors are the 3, which we then cross out, and a 5, which we also cross out. What's left in the 75 is just a factor of 5, and in the 90 is a factor of 2 and 3. So our lowest common multiple is the product of all the factors in the diagram. So it's 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5, which is 450. Make sure you've got those copied down. So now we're looking for the highest common factor. Now before it was the lowest common multiple. So Again, we break down our numbers into their prime factorisation. 18 is equal to 2 times 3 squared, and 45 is equal to 3 squared times 5. So we put them into our Venn diagram. Remembering to cross off our factors so that we don't get mixed up. And now what is different is our highest common factor, which you have to bear in mind. A factor of a number is always going to be smaller than or equal to it. So we can't go multiplying everything together this time. Our highest common factor is just the product of the shared factors. Now that's a really important line to get copied down. The highest common factor is the product of the shared factors. So 3 times 3. So 9. Now pause the video for 3 minutes and give it a go at the we do. So we break down 75. It's 3 times 5 squared. We break down 90 and we get 2 times 3 squared times 5. We input these into our Venn diagram. We get the shared factors of 3 and 5. And the highest common factor is the product of our shared factors. So 3 times 5, so 15. If we were to figure out the lowest common multiple, we would then do 15 times 2 times 3 times 5. So again, the I do, we are finding this time the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So I've represented 3 numbers as their prime factorizations. I've reminded myself how we calculate the lowest common multiple and how we calculate the highest common factor. And I have included my Venn diagram there. Now, as you notice, we have 3 numbers now, so therefore there are 3 rings. Again, you have to be very careful when crossing out your factors. So, we know that the highest common factor is the product of the shared factors. The only shared factor in all 3 rings is the number 3. So that is our highest common factor. Our lowest common multiple is the product of every number inside the Venn diagram, which gives us 1,620. You can pause the video for me now and give the we do a go. I will give you 3 minutes. Okay, so here we go. We've represented the 3 numbers as their products of prime factors. You can already, looking down the first number, see that they all share the number 3 as a shared factor. So that will go directly in the middle. 33 is the only number to have 11 as a factor. So 11 goes in the 33 ring, but not overlapping with anything else. And then we calculate the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor. So now, you have 5 minutes, you've been given the prime factorizations, and you just need to find the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor. For good practice, put these in a Venn diagram. This will stop you from counting factors too many times, from missing factors out. Use your Venn diagrams, draw them out, remember to label them, and cross out your factors as you put them in the Venn diagram. You have 5 minutes, pause the video, give these a go for me. Okay, so here are our answers. Remember to be green penning them. How are we getting on? Are we enjoying this? Is this manageable? So here we go. We have a pair of numbers and we want you to find the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor now. This time you are not given the prime factorisation, so you will need to calculate that as well. Give yourselves 5 minutes to work through this. And here we have the answers. Of course, as you can tell, the highest common factor is the first number in the solutions, and the lowest common multiple is the former. Again, make sure you green penning your work. And now we have some worded problems. So this is really going to stretch and challenge. So, let's have a look at question 1. So a red light flashes every 8 seconds. There's our first number. An orange light flashes every 10 seconds. There's our second number. They both flash at the same time. After how many seconds will they next flash at the same time? So you now need to read this question and deduce whether you think they want the highest common factor or the lowest common multiple. So again, you will be breaking down into its prime factorisation, 8 and 10. You'll then be putting your factors into its Venn diagram and deducing whether they want the highest common factor or the lowest common multiple. Pause the video and give yourselves 5 minutes to work through these first questions. And here are your answers. So, question number 1 wanted the lowest common multiple. We wanted to know what multiple of each of the seconds would be an overlap for both lights to flash at the same time. So, now we have 4 more questions. Again, can you pause this and give them a go for 5 minutes? And here are your answers. Again, make sure you're green penning your work. And well done, guys. That is the end of section 9.05. Again, how do we feel we progressed as we went on? What was easy? What was quite tricky? Have you nailed those success criteria? Go back and have a look. But overall, well done. I'll see you next time.